Alright, so to make your Notan, you're going to line up your colorful square paper in the center of your black paper and make sure it's as close to perfectly centered as possible. You're going to trace around the edge, and that's going to act as a guideline for lining up your pieces once you cut them out. Once you're done tracing your colored square, you're going to move on to designing your Notan. You're going to use shapes to design the outside. You can use geometric shapes or organic shapes, and you're going to put these shapes all along the edge of your square. When you're drawing your shapes, you need to keep in mind that whatever you draw, you're going to have to cut out, so you don't want to do anything too detailed because it'll be difficult to cut out. Another thing you need to keep in mind is that your shapes need to start and stop on the same side of your square. Any shape you draw needs to start and stop on the same side. Alright, once you're finished drawing all your shapes, you're going to want to cut out all those pieces. But the trick is that you have to cut out each one as a whole piece. So you can't lose any pieces, and they need to be fully intact. Alright, so you're going to use a cutting method where you turn the paper as you cut. It's going to make it really easy to cut out all those shapes that you drew, especially if you did some kind of tricky ones like mine. So you're going to cut part of your shape, turn your paper, cut, turn, cut very carefully. And while you're doing this, you're keeping the shape fully intact. Just be real careful. Turn your paper, cut, turn your paper, and cut. Boom. Now you have the shape that came out of that space. Just like that. Alright, you're going to use that same cutting method where you turn the paper to cut out all the shapes in your square. See how I'm turning the paper as I cut? It's really useful for cutting out tricky shapes. Just turn the paper as you cut. Alright, you're going to move all your pieces and grab your black paper. Be careful not to lose any of your pieces that you just cut out. So you can still see that square that you traced to begin with. And that's where your big piece is going to go. You can line up the straight edges like that along the straight edges of your square that you traced. Then you can kind of put your shapes back in there like a puzzle, but you're going to flip them open. So find where your shape goes and then flip it so it looks like a mirror image. So you're going to flip and then line it up straight with the bottom and do the same thing for all the rest of your pieces. All right, so this is like the basic requirement, easy peasy, but to spice it up, to make it a little bit more challenging, you can add some other small shapes into your big shapes that you cut out. All right, once you have all your little shapes drawn, then you can use the same turning and cutting method that you use with your big shapes to cut those out. Line it up, stick it in, flip it so it looks like the mirror image. And you're going to do that for all of your little shapes the same way you did for your big shapes. Now flip it, line it up, and flip it. And then you have a flip inside of a flip. All right, so you can move your pieces out of the way so we can start gluing. We want to glue that guy down, but we need to be careful. That's the front. We want to glue on the back. You can get a scrap piece of paper or a piece of cardboard, and you're going to use a glue stick to cover the entire thing with glue. See how I'm putting the glue on and going off of the paper? That's why we're doing it on a scrap paper so we don't get glue everywhere. But we want to get glue on all of those little tiny pieces so that it sticks down. All right, once your piece is covered in glue, line it up with that square that you originally traced. Now smooth all of those pieces down very carefully. And then you're going to take each piece and look at its flip and make sure you glue on the back of it. So you're going to put your glue on there, make sure you get all of those little pieces covered in glue, line it up so that it looks like a mirror image, and smooth it down. All right, you're going to continue to glue down all your pieces the same way. Be very careful when you're gluing them on and putting your glue on. You need to make sure that it's an exact flip and that it's in the right spot. Your tiny pieces might be a little bit difficult to glue, but take your time and just make sure they line up. And you got it. All right, friends, the last thing you need to do is erase any of the pencil lines that you might still be able to see from when you originally drew your shapes. You're going to get all of those erased, and once those are gone, you are finished with your Notan. I think that they are very beautiful with their positive and negative space, lots of reflections and symmetry. They are magnificent